It looks like more voter suppression going on in the South, this time in Kentucky, which has their primary tomorrow. And one of the things that people will be voting on is who the Democratic challenger to unseat Mitch McConnell, the human turtle, will be. Will it be the progressive Charles Booker, who supports things like Medicare for All, Green New Deal, tuition free college, canceling student loan debt, or the centrist neoliberal Amy McGrath, who doesn't support any of that stuff? And obviously, I would encourage everybody who lives in Kentucky, to vote for Charles Booker, somebody who's actually going to stand up and fight for the working class and actually wants to change the status quo so the United States actually works for the majority of people and not just the billionaire owner class. This is from Forbes. Tuesday, Kentucky will hold the statewide primary election that was delayed from its original date in May because of the pandemic, but voters seeking to cast ballots will need to look harder for a place to vote as the state slashed the number of polling locations from 3,700 in a normal election year to less than 200 for this week's primary election. The move particularly impacts black voters, as Jefferson County, the county with the state's largest black population, will only have one polling station. A little troubling, right? The decision outlined by Kentucky state officials comes after an executive order from Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear that expanded mail-in and absentee ballot access, as well as introduced guidelines intended to reduce the risk of coronavirus transmission among voters and poll workers. Following the order, the state's Board of Election officials directed counties to propose plans that would reduce the number of polling stations across the state. While counties did select larger capacity locations for the fewer number of polling stations, the consequences are nonetheless revealing. The county in which Louisville sits chose a single location for its population of approximately 767,000 residents, a decision that is particularly troubling given the large population of black voters in the region. I mean, one fucking polling station for 767,000 residents. That is beyond obscene and nuts. And again, what all the states should have done during this fucking pandemic is institute all mail-in voting. You get your ballot sent to your house, you fill it out, you send it, you put it in your mailbox. USPS picks it up, boom, done. I mean, and if you're not going to do that, then obviously you need all these fucking polling stations open. Fucking Kentucky, you bunch of dummies, Jesus Christ. I mean that. And then people say, well, we just need to go out and vote to change things. I mean, how do you expect literally hundreds of thousands of people to be able to vote on election day? There's one fucking polling station. Jesus Christ. I mean, fucking voter suppression. It's disgusting. Voting rights advocates have taken to the courts to oppose the plan, and this fucking federal judge, what a dipshit. But last week, a federal judge denied a motion to require more polling places in Kentucky's three most populated counties. In dismissing the basis of the suit, the judge was unmoved by the concerns of the advocates. Quote, the issue before the court is not whether a hypothetical voter in Kentucky's upcoming primary election would benefit from additional polling. Why would that not be the fucking concern, Judge Charles Simpson III, you fucking piece of dog shit? Wrote Judge Charles Simpson III in the opinion of the court. Rather, the issue is whether the challenged election procedures result in a cognizable infringement under the Constitution or an injury under the Voting Rights Act. We conclude, how does that not result in an infringement? You know how many hundreds, how many thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people aren't going to be able to vote? Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. The new developments have captured the attention of the nation, including voting rights activists as well as star athletes such as LeBron James, who recently started a new voting rights initiative focused on helping black voters combat voter suppression tactics. The high-profile Democratic primary election also had already been high on the minds of many, since it will determine who will take on Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, human turtle, in November. This race between racial justice advocate and progressive activist Charles Booker and Amy McGrath, a moderate and former Marine. And again, it's in any other country, a politician like Amy McGrath would be considered on the right, and Booker would actually be considered the moderate. That is how just completely out of balance U.S. politics has shifted to the right in probably the last 40, 50 years, and this just stopped working, so that's not very helpful. But anyways, really disgusting. Kentucky closing all of these polling stations, and so they did have the option. People had the option to request mail-in ballots. They had to do that, I believe, by June 15th, which is just stupid. It just adds another fucking layer to it. Again, we're in a fucking pandemic. All these states who don't have mail-in voting currently should have instituted that, like right away. In a pandemic, you shouldn't expect people to go out, risk their lives, risk, contracting COVID, potentially, dying or getting really sick themselves, or passing that on to their family and their loved ones who they lived with. So it's just really ridiculous that all the states in the U.S. don't have mail-in voting at this point. Thankfully, live in Washington State, and we've had that for a number of years, and just really disgusting. Kentucky, that voter suppression, and knock on wood that Charles Booker defeats Amy McGrath. Again, she's not a progressive. She's not going to stand up and fight for policies that benefit the working people of Kentucky or the United States. Again, doesn't support Medicare for all, doesn't support a Green New Deal, doesn't support tuition-free college, doesn't support canceling student loan debt. She's garbage. Charles Booker all the way, baby. Peace. Much love.